Lock and load.
All right, welcome everyone to Spring News Bulletin. I'm your host, Coach Rick. Today we're going to have a special guest host, DC Doc. He was a guest on my last podcast.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Coach Rick, for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, what we're going to talk about today is, since he's basically Mr. DC himself, he likes all the DC teams in all sports. We'll have him talk about the NFL Washington Commanders. Maybe one day there'll be the Redskins. We'll have him talk about that a little bit. There is some news he told me, some breaking news. And then we'll move on to the UFL and talk about his DC Defenders and other things coming up, because next week is season 2, Friday Night Football on Fox. All right, so DC Doc, go ahead and start talking about your beloved Commanders and what you heard.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here with you, Coach Rick. This week we had some new players attend the office, and one of them was Deebo Samuel, which is probably the highlight of the signings of all of free agency, particularly for us, right? So there was an update in his contract. His contract was presumed to be $17 million roughly. But it wasn't all guaranteed. What Adam Peters, our GM, did was he restructured the contract. And so now the contract states that all $17 million of the contract, of Deebo Samuel's contract, is guaranteed, and an additional $3 million and incentives have been added to the contract. Deebo Samuel is very excited, and he says he's very motivated to be in D.C. He has family in South Carolina, and he also has family in Baltimore. So I imagine a lot of jersey sales will come with us picking him up as well. A lot of attendance, will come to the park as well. So that's the highlight, I would say, of the free agency period with us. We've re-signed a lot of our key players. We re-signed Zach Ertz. We re-signed Bobby Wagner as well. And we've also re-signed a few linemen as well. I mean, I'd like for them to bring back Mr. Schreff, being that he's a free agent, but I think his dollar amount might be a little bit too high at this point, but we'll see. We also signed a new wide receiver. Might have heard of him before. Come from the division. His name is Michael Gallup. Those of you guys who aren't familiar with him, he's lightning fast, and he's also very motivated. And he has something left in the tank. He's about 30 years old, so he's not super old, super old as well. So with that being said, I'm very excited about the prospects of the entire new offense. I mean, from what it looks like now, if everything plays out in camp, from what we can see, you'll have at the Y, or the number one receiver, you'll have Terry McLaurin. In the slot, you'll probably have Deebo. And on the other side of Terry McLaurin, you'll probably have Michael Gallup. That's a lot of speed, and in the slot, a lot of power for the offense. And with Kingsbury's mindset, Cliff Kingsbury's mindset, anything is possible with those three at receiver. Not to mention, if you throw Eckler in the ball game and pull Robinson like on the third down, you don't know what to expect. So This is a very fun offense, just to say the least.
If I may say something, I mean, you mentioned Gallup. Now, people may not know that's an ex-Cowboy, so I know him very well. He was hurt. He's been out of the NFL for a little bit, but it seems that I guess Washington sees something they like in him. They still got something left in the tank. We'll see. I mean, congratulations to you guys. You guys are building a good team, and in my opinion, I think you'll take the division. I think you win the NFC East. I think it should be the Commanders this year, because there's always a new division winner. So this year, hands down, in my opinion, I don't like it because I'm a Cowboys fan. But to be honest, Washington Commanders will take the division this year. Was any breaking news? You were telling me something, but you didn't want to divulge it yet. So was there any breaking news?
One last thing about the Commanders, I'd like to make a prediction of 13-4 loss record. We play a pretty weak AFC West. And that's no disrespect to the Chargers, but it is what it is when you compare it with the AFC North and those other divisions. Now shifting gears a little bit, going to the UFL. There's breaking news a couple of hours ago. So there's a new interim head coach for the DC Defenders.
I didn't know that.
And his name, he was last year's quarterback coach. His name is Shannon Harris. Okay, so Reggie Barlow actually left and wrote his resignation as early as today. And he's going to be the new head coach of Tennessee State. Okay. And so, because Reggie Barlow took over the position because Eddie George actually left. So Reggie Barlow essentially succeeds Eddie George. And so, because of those changes, Shannon Harris is the new interim head coach of the DC Defenders. So, and this is reported by Jake Russell of the Washington Post.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't hear that. I was looking at the UFL.com website. Didn't mention anything with that. No breaking news on that. But thanks for sharing that. Thanks for giving us the 411 on that. Now, this year, as predicted, next week, Friday Night Football on Fox, 8 p.m. You'll have. I made a mistake last time in our last podcast. It's not going to be your DC Defenders, actually. So it'll be
the St. Louis Battlehawks versus the Houston Roughnecks.
Anyway, it doesn't matter, but it's going to be Friday Night Football, 8 p.m. Fox, first game of season 2 for the UFL. Now, let's see what to expect with the UFL. The Birmingham Stallions have made great pickups this offseason. They're strengthening their team. I think they're going to be a championship team again for the UFL, be it the first 4-peat in any sport. I mean, they did 3-peat with winning 2 in the USFL, 1 in the UFL. And now season 2 of the UFL, they look like they're the favorites coming out of the gate. They did sign Alex Magoo, who was the championship quarterback for the second season of USFL. He was on the practice squad of the Green Bay Packers. Now he's back. They have a strong quarterback room. You got Matt Corral, who won it last year. Now you got Alex Magoo who's coming back. And then they picked up the ex-Philadelphia star.
Case Cookus.
He was on the Memphis Showboats last year. But they do have a strong quarterback room. Forgive me, I'm not that prepared. Wasn't going to do the podcast today, but we spoke, so let's get on and do this. So they have a strong quarterback room. It looks like they'd be the favorites to win. So the top 4 teams again. The DC Defenders did pick up a whole bunch of players because right now it's showing that Abram Smith, who was hurt all last year, is still questionable in training camp. It's supposed to be, this is the outlook of the season, the 1-2 punch with quarterback Jordan Ta'amu coming back. He's a starting quarterback. And then Abram Smith, who is supposed to be playing and starting, but now is questionable. So now we don't, I think they have a running back they signed. His name is Darius Higgins. He'll be the number 1 running back now. Give me 1 second. He played 8 games last year. He had 48 attempts, 173 yards, 1 touchdown, a decent average of 3.6. Nothing to really rave about, but that's his average. He'll probably be the starting running back if Abram Smith's not good to go. And the other top receiver they have, Ty Scott, he's actually really good. He had 9 games, 25 attempts, 418 yards, 3 touchdowns, 16.7 average yards per game. Now, he's the top receiver. Now, they do have other guys, depth chart. So basically, here's the depth chart DC. You have your backup quarterback, Mike DeLalo. Probably see no time, maybe some cleanup time. Now, the receivers they have a great 1, 2, and even 3 punch. They have Jake Copeland, he's back. Chris Rowland. These guys are great receivers. I'm not even worried about their offense. You have the defenders. Their cornerback room is really great. You got Adam Sparks, Keandre Thomas, and Bryce Thompson. These three quarterbacks are shutdown cornerbacks, and they should be able to pretty much do the job. So DC defenders can return to the XFL 2023 standard to go 9-1 again. I do believe that, they're going to be a contending team to go up against the Birmingham Stallions, because we really don't know. It's pretty much a carousel of players. The UFL's become like the G League, unofficial G League of the NFL. They signed like 80 players last year. So a lot of players maybe didn't come to camp. They might be on a practice squad in the NFL, or decided not to play in the UFL because it wasn't good for them, and they'll probably never make the NFL. But there are a lot of players that are coming back, and a lot of new players coming in, and some college players as well. So, my top four teams will have the Birmingham Stallions four-peating, DC Defenders there to battle them. Now, we also have the St. Louis Battlehawks, Duggan from the Chargers. He may be their starting quarterback. And you have the Michigan Panthers as well. I think it's Danny Etling. I think he was with the San Antonio Brahmas. He's with the Michigan Panthers now. So looking at 1 and 2, Birmingham Stallions, then have DC Defenders. Number 3, St. Louis Battlehawks. And maybe probably 4, it's between the Michigan Panthers and San Antonio Brahmas. So in my opinion, Birmingham Stallions will 4-peat. Now, I know you don't want that to happen. So what's your take on the UFL this year?
I feel it's going to be very competitive. I would like to, obviously, for my defenders, to return to form from 2 years ago. But if they can get anywhere, the 9 wins that they had 2 years ago, I think we're in prime position to do some damage, come postseason time.
Right. Like I said, UFL is not for everybody. People who love football, like as you do and I do, you're going to watch these other leagues. A lot of people don't know about the UFL. It's a spring league of 10-game season with a divisional playoff game and then a championship game. This year it's going to be played in the American Dome in St. Louis, the old home of the St. Louis Rams. So that's where the championship's going to be. It's basically a magnet for a lot of UFL fans because the Battlehawks, they average about 35,000 a game. So they're really the crux of the UFL. So if you want to have good optics, you're going to go to St. Louis. So we basically don't know. Basically, it looks like the Birmingham Stallions and then everyone else. I'm going to give the DC Defenders the edge because they pretty much have the same team coming back. If Abram Smith can come back, be healthy, you'll have a good 1-2 punch. You got good defense. I'm Reggie Barlow not being there, so we don't know what to expect. We don't know the expected leadership, the new coach, even though he's been there. I don't know. What's your take on the coaching? You did mention Reggie Barlow, leaving, going to Tennessee College. And
we're going to see. Obviously, offensive-minded head coach. It's all about Smith being healthy enough to carry his leverage. The amount of leverage that he has in offense, he has to get back as soon as possible because the offense is kind of catered around his running game. You know what I mean? So it's all about how healthy and how fast he can get back into the lineup.
Yeah. Let's bring up the. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna bring up the UFL website just to show little people what's going on with the website. If you don't know, it's called the UFL.com. They have some great. I don't really want to show it here for copyright reasons, but they have. It's more of what you love. If you click on that, you can see pretty much a commercial with Fox did a commercial with each team. Whatever team is your team you're rooting for, you can see the commercial. And there's a generic or a general commercial that I've seen on the internet for the UFL upcoming season 2. And their new slogan is more of what you love. It's more football. So it's more of what you love. You can check it out, theufl.com. Check out your team. If you're new to the league, watch it. There's only 8 teams this year. Supposedly next year they're going to expand to 2 more teams, and they do have 2 divisions. For all you not familiar with the UFL, the USFL division and the XFL division. We spoke about that last time. I think it's a great idea that they can break up the fans from both leagues and have them all come back into this one league, the UFL, so you don't really lose anybody. It's like XFL fans won't be mad. It's not called the XFL anymore. The USFL fans won't be angry about not being the USFL. Now it's the UFL Season 2, 2025, and you have 2 different divisions, so you can still root for the USFL and still root for the XFL. And once again, this Friday, the March 28th at 8 p.m. on Fox, you can catch the first game of UFL Season 2. It's going to be USFL division against XFL division, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be a good game. I know I'll be watching. How about you, Doc?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Paying close attention, man. Let's see how this new era, right, of DC football turns out.
Yeah, DC's big. You got all your teams out there, and I'm happy to have an East Coast team at least being in DC, because I'll share a little story. I was there last year. I went to watch the St. Louis Battlehawks versus the DC Defenders. They play in Audi Stadium, which is the DC United soccer field. If I tell you, it's amazing. It seats about 19,000. I think they had an attendance of over 16,000. And they do this little bear snake, which every year from the XFL days, they still do it now with the UFL. And the behind the end zone, you start seeing them making empty beer cups. They start making a beer snake. It's amazing. The fans there in DC, I have to give it to you guys. DC fans know how to cheer. They know how to, they're very, I guess, make up good little quirks of how to like celebrate being with the beer snake, So I'm really excited for the league itself. So basically, like, I was a New Jersey Generals fan in the USFL, so yeah, they're no longer around, so who knows? I'm basically going to watch it. I was more a USFL fan than an XFL fan, so I was basically rooting for the Birmingham Stallions a little bit, but on the XFL side of things, I was a Arlington Renegades fan because I'm a Cowboy fan, so I like the blue and, all that, but we'll see. I mean, it should be a good season. I mean, the Fox really has a good presentation with these commercials. You should check it out on YouTube, and it should be a fun time.
Just one quick shout out.
Go ahead.
And I want to apologize.
What's that?
How can I forget? I said that Debo was the number 1 free agent. Well, he was one and one. Is you got 1A and 1B, because he might be 1A. How can I forget the giant Laramie Tunsil coming from the Houston Texans? Huge to block Jaden side. So shout out to Laramie Tunsil. Hell, let's raise hell.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got a good team. Washington Commanders 2025 prediction here. We both feel that they're going to win the NFC East. Unfortunately, not to my liking, but that's just the facts. I mean, they have a stronger team. The offense is stronger now, so Jaden should be able to find more open receivers and make it more productive. Defense should hold their own, and so good luck to the Washington Commanders in 2025. And good luck to DC Defenders in 2025 for the UFL. That's all we really have for today. I'm your host, Coach Rick, special guest host, DC Doc. You may see a lot more of him now. I may keep this as a two-man show. We'll see. But Jonathan, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being a guest host. It's great having you.
Thank you,
Probably
Coach Rick.
See you again.
Appreciate you.
Okay, no, you got it. Thank you. And thanks to everyone who's watching Spring News Bulletin on YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button and like button. Give the algorithm a little bit more of a push, because we really do need it. We're a new channel and a new format here, so let's get it going. Hit that subscribe button, like button, and support us here on Spring News Bulletin, your source for alternate football news and more. This is Coach Rick, DC Doc. We're out.